A True Story of a Dog and His Race. Written by Debbie Levy with Rosanna Panza. Illustrated by David Opie. It was a damp and drizzly Sunday morning in Dozer and Chica's neighborhood. Who knew what delicious smells last night's rain washed in? Who knew what treasures the storm blew into the yard? So the two best friends stretched out after a good night's sleep in the barn, shook themselves off, and began investigating. The scent of squirrel here. The fragrance of fox there. Traces of toad. Out in the street, a runner ran by. Then another runner, and another, and another, and another, and another. Where were these runners running? Dozer and Chica looked at each other. Then they got back to their exploring. Was this big branch here yesterday? A raccoon was there. Ah, the whiff of wet wood. Frog, here in this hollow. More runners ran by. Where were all those runners running? We stay in the yard, Chica said with her eyes. Dozer's eyes were on the runners. We belong in the yard, Chica's eyes said. Plus, we haven't had breakfast yet. Later, we'll walk with our people. But the runners are running now, Chica, Dozer said with his big, swishy tail. They must be chasing something wonderful. More wonderful than the flavor of frog and the reek of raccoon? More wonderful than breakfast, Dozer? Dozer did love his breakfast. But he had to find out what the runners were chasing. He dashed out of the yard. I'll be back, Chica. Follow the leader. But who was the leader? Dozer followed his nose and smelled. A pocket full of gummies. Shorts with the scent of strange dog. Stinky socks. Tangy trail mix. Sneakers that once stepped in... Never mind. Dozer followed his ears. He heard laughter, whistles, wonderfulness. And lots of leaders. Dozer could be a leader too. On and on the runners ran. On and on ran Dozer. So much running was hard. A leader's job was to make it fun. Dozer was good at fun. How about a friendly game of chase? Dozer could outsprint everyone. How about cooling off with a drink? No one could slurp quite like Dozer. How about a game of tag? No one could catch Dozer. Dozer had never run this much before. He grew tired and hungry. Maybe there was breakfast at home. Maybe he was done being a leader. Dozer turned around. He started to run back. He looked up into the faces of the other runners. Everyone was happy to see Dozer. Good dog. Run, doggy, run. Did a candy bar run by in that fanny pack? The perfume of sweaty feet. Jelly beans in that armband. There was still so much to explore. So Dozer turned around again. Hey, buddy. Hiya, Pooch. Wrong way, fella. Look at that tail. Dozer kept his head high and his tail proud. Around him, people were drooping. Some were slowing down. These runners still needed him. Come on. One foot after another. You can do it. We'll be someplace wonderful soon. Run, 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 run. Suddenly, Dozer heard clapping and cheering. He slowed down to investigate. He looked left. He looked right. He looked straight ahead and... Oh! Dozer sped up again and scampered across the finish line. See? I knew we could do it. I knew we were running someplace wonderful. The other runners smiled and chatted and high-fived. They all got big, shiny medals hung on broad ribbons. Their friends and family greeted them. Everyone was happy and proud. But no one greeted Dozer. No one smiled and chatted and high-fived with Dozer. No one gave him a big, shiny medal. No one even gave him a teeny tiny dog treat. Oh, suddenly this wasn't so wonderful. It wasn't wonderful at all. So, Dozer ran on. Morning turned into afternoon, turned into evening. There was no leader for Dozer to follow. There were no followers for Dozer to lead. Dozer was alone. He was alone all night long. Monday was another damp and drizzly morning. Dozer's family had been searching for him and worrying ever since he sprinted out of the yard on Sunday. They came outside after a sleepless, sad night. Dozer! Dozer! Come here, boy! Come back, Dozer! Here, Dozer! Dozer's mom looked and listened, but there was no sign or sound of Dozer. There was only a dirty, wet rag at the edge of the yard. Then the dirty, wet rag shook itself off and barked, ever so faintly. Dozer! Dozer's mom hugged him close. Dozer limped to the barn. There was his bed. That was wonderful. Dozer had his breakfast. At last. Wonderfulness. Dozer plopped into his bed and fell asleep. For 2 days. Thursday morning was not, finally, another damp and drizzly one in Dozer and Chica's neighborhood. The two best friends stretched out. Then, as usual, they began investigating. A possum odor. The smell of slugs. Tang of turtle. Aroma of runner? Aroma of two runners. These two men were in charge of the long race that Dozer had joined on Sunday. When they heard about the dog who had run practically the whole route, they just had to track Dozer down and pay him and his family a visit. And they just had to give Dozer the prize that every runner who finished the 13-mile race earned, a big shiny medal. Also, some high fives. Dozer held his head up high and proud. I did it, Chica, Dozer said with his tail. I chased something wonderful, and I got it. Yes, Chica said with her eyes, but I was worried. Oh. Dozer put his head down a little. His nose caught the scent of something interesting on the ground. This is wonderful too, Dozer said with his tail. And the two friends got back to exploring the wonderfulness of their own backyard. Bouquet of bunny rabbit here. The skin of a snake there. Vapor of vole. Breakfast!
And then author's notes. Dozer was 3 years old when he bolted from his yard in Highland, Maryland to join the 2,000 people running a race called the Maryland Half Marathon. He was definitely noticeable, trotting along nice and tall with his summer haircut and tail waving like a flag. Many runners assumed he was one of the other humans' runners. The 2,000 people who participated in the 13-mile race that Sunday, May 15, 2011, had a special purpose. They ran to fight cancer. Each runner raised money to benefit the University of Maryland Greenbaum Cancer Center, which helps people with this disease. Dozer hadn't run to fight cancer. A dog can't raise money unless that is something wonderful happens. After the race, word spread about Dozer. First, one person made a donation to celebrate the run, then another and another and another and another. When all the donations were added up after the race on the cloudy spring morning, the total that Dozer raised was $25,000. This was twice as much as any other racer in the race. Dozer's donors, there were 700 of them, came from 43 states, Canada and Great Britain. Dozer went to the veterinarian right after his adventure. The vet pronounced him exhausted but healthy. But running long distance without proper training is not a good idea for canines or humans, and a half mile is really too strenuous for a golden doodle. So after his big race, Dozer hung up his running shoes and paws, to be exact. But although he gave up long distance running, Dozer became the official top dog of the Maryland Half Marathon. He keeps raising money to fight cancer as people keep donating money to celebrate him. No one knows what Dozer did for the time he crossed the finish line before noon on Sunday until Monday morning, when he returned home. Did he stop and rest? Did he retrace his steps over the race route, running the half marathon in reverse? Or did he cut through the fields and woods, parks and parking lot, backyards and front yards? Similarly, no one knows exactly why Dozer found the Maryland half marathon so enticing. It was not in his nature to run away. He loved hanging out with his mom, owner, Rosanna Pizzana, and her son Nick and Tyler and Chica. Rosanna said there was a little miracle working within him that day. Maybe Dozer won the hearts of so many people because he reminds us that anybody can create a little miracle. Anybody can take steps big and small to help others. You can see Dozer cross the finish line in the video online at www.umgcc.org/news/marathondog.htm. So this story was based on a true story, so it makes it nonfiction. It does have a little less of our normal characteristics of a nonfiction story since it does have illustrations. But the story that is being told is a true story, which makes it nonfiction. So go ahead and use this story to help you fill out the nonfiction summary. And you can use this author's note as well to help you fill it out.